Hi guys. Yeah, sorry. On my way like a bicycle. That's basically means, hey, today the wrong person got caught. Voila. I'm sitting here okay, it's not load shedding. We've essentially had no power since this afternoon. Luckily, I've been running a few errands for my business. I went back to copies, checked out a few opportunities, that sort of a thing. And I got back to work and yeah, no, got back to no electricity, but luckily my battery still had power. And I decided, let me charge my ring light, switch it on, and then work until everything passes away. I've got candles on, so it's a bit lit. And I've started reading this book, influenced by Robert Cialdini. To say it's a phenomenal book is an understatement of note. But I think what came up, and I was having a conversation about it now, was a conversation I once had, but it replayed itself again now in a different format. And the conversation was about essentially a status update that I saw um, on my friend's status. I'm just gonna check it out because it's there. I've spoken to him before about it, but this time I triggered something else. E o ka re o e tlositse. But essentially, it's something to the effect of the Friday problem. And the idea with the Friday problem is that essentially, as soon as Wednesday hits, Thursday, employees start counting down that it's Friday already. And then on Friday itself, there's this trend yokuthi valana ama-laptop akusi company yakini or yababakho. And I think look, I'm black, I work hard as everybody else, and then there just comes that time in the week where you're just exhausted and you feel like you need to, perhaps take a bit of a break. But I think in context of everything happening, Trev posted this probably as well because Business Day highlighted it as a problem of Business Insider. To say employees essentially on Friday, the productivity is ground zero. And it coincided with the last 2 months, essentially, were huge traveling months for me. I've been up and down to my folks' place and what have you. And I was confronted with the question of, am I still prioritizing my business, busy going up and down to see my folks, that sort of thing, and help them out with a few things? And, you know, my defense was simple. But yeah, it's something along the lines, the first thing that I consider is my work is essentially up here and on my laptop. And the first thing I consider is this going to jeopardize my work? What are my deliverables? And I'm accountable. Yeah, that's the only way you get to be a business owner. But I dug deep and I decided to actually give a fuller answer. And it aligns along the same answer I gave Trev when he asked, how are we going to solve this problem? And the answer is radical honesty. And I've said this before. I think I have a video, I'll just put it up here later on, a video called We're Just Not Good Enough. You know, we don't put our best foot forward. And I'll speak for Black people. I can't speak for other races because obviously I'm not them and I don't know what aspirations and ambitions they have, nor do I know what potential they have. And I said, in that video, you can watch it, rewatch it. And I said, yeah, I don't know, man. It was a conversation I was having with Seho, my friend. And I said, man, I just feel like there was a time when you felt more ambitious and you knew that every day you were hitting your stride. You would wake up early, sleep late. You were hungry for something. You were hungry for that success. And even in as you were studying and working, maybe you'd fail, but you knew that you put in your all and you didn't deserve it. And oh my God, what more do I need to do to get this? And you get back and you try again, even harder, and then you fail again, you know? But you keep going. It was that hunger that kept steering you on. And I don't think we have that anymore, man. You can comment in the comment section. I think we just sloppy, dog. I think we just average at best. Like we just there. Like we doing the best we can. Mental health, you name it. But at the same time, it's not really the best we can. I think it's the best that's doable, the best that's convenient, the best that's there. And I say this because I know at the time I said this, it was because I had started gymming and I had started going to swim and I could feel that there was more oxygen coming in. And I thought to myself, geez, what have I been doing this whole time? So it means every time I had more in the tank, I would just say I'm tired, it's been a long week, and then I'll call it a night. Versus now, I'm tired, I go to the gym, I swim, and then I call it a night. But tomorrow, I can put in a much longer day. I wake up earlier, I'm fresher, I can feel that there's vitality in the tank. It's like I've increased my capacity to do more. And reflecting on, my God, how many years have I wasted just being, pushing to the best of my ability, but never expanding that ability. And there's this book that I once read, or this concept that I once came across, speaking about sometimes we fill the glass, but we never consider that how do we expand the glass so that it can take more, you know? And that's basically where it came at. And you'll see the title of the video is going to be something along the lines that every boy should forgive their father. And that's that. Like, I don't care what people say and what your dad did and what have you, gents. And this is a conversation I had a while back, 2, 3 years ago, with my business partner, Tokyo, to say, as a gent, you need to make peace with your dad because there's no other human being or there's no other man out there that's going to understand you. And that's because no man is trying to please you as a gent. If you're a lady, whether it's bad or not, most men are actually interested in what is it that you need that can benefit you and them. Men have a vested interest in getting women from one spot to another in whatever format that you define that as. But as a guy, you have absolutely nothing to offer another man. And when it comes to women, you have nothing to offer women that are not sexually interested in you. And 90% of the time, that's a lot of women if you're an average man, you know? And I then reflected on why did I have the busy month or 2 months that I had? And I realized that, you know what, whatever errands that I have to run for my dad, there's that hour or two that we make where we can sit down and he can tell that, dog, you're struggling with something, right? And I can put it out there that, yeah, I've been having this and this client challenge, what have you, but it's not a big deal. I've got it sorted. And the gent will just be radically honest that, nah, you need to cut them off. And I'd be there thinking, if I cut them off, then what? And it just straight up puts it. If you cut them off, then you can focus more time on clients that actually are able to build you and pay you. There's a certain sense of clarity that comes with that you won't get anywhere as a gent because you face a constant battle of trying to affirm yourself, and that affirmation won't come from anywhere else because nobody's interested in pouring into you as a gent. Nobody's interested in getting into bed with you for that matter as a gent. So as a result, nobody's interested in being radically in your favor except your father. And I wish I had ways to explain it to you that even your dad, that's a dick that has like fucked up your family and what have you. I shit you not, he has a special place in his heart for you as a gent. There is a certain frequency that if you approach that nigga with and show him that you're the only other person as well, vice versa, that understands where that nigga comes from, he's got so much that he can give you. For those of you that are religious, it speaks to the story of, I think it's Jacob blessing his sons, or his Isaac and Jacob, them basically getting blessed by their father. Um, yeah, them. And it it makes it very clear that this is the only person that can bless them. If he chooses not to bless you, then you're fucked. And that is not conditional on if he's a good man or if he's a tall man or if he's a short man or whatever. You see it with thugs, dog. When thugs get a son, they literally rejoice that, listen, my legacy is gonna live on. This is the same nigga that can sit in the mirror and say to himself that, fuck, I'm actually a menace to society. This guy feels as if there's a semblance, there's a little bit of good in him, that by having a son, it's gonna redeem him. Now, if you think that you're gonna listen to the world that's gonna tell you what to do or write off with your dad and wara wara and don't, and he deserves it, and mind, he probably deserves it. I don't even wanna shit you on that. But fucking space for to realize that there are some blessings that can only come from your father, you know? And as I say, that's because that's the only man that has got a vested interest in you. No strings attached. Like, yeah, you get people that say, yeah, but if you come back when I'm 25, what do you want? Especially if you come back having nothing. Leave that to the girls. Like, if I'm a girl and my dad comes back at 25, like, dude, where were you at 18, 19, 22 when gents left, right, and center were hitting on me and promising me heaven on earth? And I believed it because you went around. Like as a gent, nobody was promising you heaven and earth at 22, dog, you know? And it may seem like this gent is here because of Popile, and it even may be that this gent is here because of Popile. I tell you now, that gent has got nobody else. He's trusting his fucking DNA that, listen, this genetic mutation of mine is the only thing that has got the capacity to finally redeem who I am in this world. And that good that I may have planted or may have had in me, hopefully, now it has come to fruition and is a thing. Um, and is showing itself in whatever kindness that my son has to offer, whatever you. But it's not kindness for the sake of ngifuna ukudabukelwa, I wanna be sympathized with. It's kindness from the sense of kumele sakhe ubudlelwane. Like we have to build a sense of brotherhood, an ability to say, listen, dog, I got you. You know that reaching out of the hand that you get if you've played team sports, you know that feeling when your teammates have got your back. Outside of that, most gents don't get it. Like most gents are not that good at team sports. They never get to that level of camaraderie or what have you. So I wanted to just touch on that, and I'll come back to the Trevor thing. I didn't go tangent, emo and all that stuff. I think I just needed to 100% make it clear that my niggas, if you are not at peace with your pops, fucking make peace with that shit. That's the next step to your leveling up because no other man has got the ability to make sure that you are it. I've had situations where my dad straight up looked at my idea and said, nah, this is not gonna work. This ain't it. I've had situations where my dad straight up told me that, dog, I'm not your university. If you wanna try this shit out, you try it out with the world. You don't come fuck around with my money. And that shit hurt. That shit felt like, what the fuck? Like, then why do I have a dad if you're gonna crush me like that? But I understood that no other man even gives you that type of feedback. No other man is actually going to tell you that, no, dog, improve one, two, three, four, five before you come to me. And I understood that, listen, if ever I can meet this person's standard, nobody needs to tell me I'll be world class. That's on that, you know? That's 100% on that. I think I forget if it's Jewish custom or it's old Jewish custom. I think it's about the story of Jesus coming back into Bethlehem, but it had something to do with him coming of age. And they were explaining the concept of Jesus being a carpenter and the work that he did. And they say that back in the day, what used to happen was that your father would be your apprentice. Your father would be the person that actually prepares you for your job. And I've actually got my cousin brother who the dad did that for. And I remember I was in first year and I was thinking, shit, I envy this nigga. Like, I'm in university and it looks as if I've made it. I'm on the straight and narrow, and what do they call it? The world is your oyster type of stuff. And I was there thinking, I knew then that nah, dog, nobody here has a vested interest in teaching me how to make money. Nobody is gonna teach me how to make money. 10, 11, 12, 13 years later, nobody in university taught me how to make money. Sure, they gave me expertise, they taught me how to do accounting, whatever you, but till today, none of them taught me that, listen, with this skill that we have equipped you with, this is how you approach a client, this is how you treat them, this is how you whatever. And I remember my cousin brother who his father was teaching, he said to him, no, you're not gonna go to university until I'm done with you. And I think it took like 3 years, if I remember correctly. We never even saw each other in that period. And he would just go to work and do dirty jobs with his dad. Like, dog, I'm talking carry 2 bags. I'm talking clean the van at 12 o'clock at night. I'm talking wake up in the morning, wash the car in the cold. You name it. And if you asked at any time, this nigga probably hated his dad. Like he probably felt like, nah, this SO is the worst thing to ever happen to me. Like I'm watching my peers graduate, move on ahead. And I remember feeling like, yo, dog, like find it in you to just fucking keep going because one day you're gonna thank that nigga. I'm not even saying that he hated his dad. I'm saying he probably did. This is me projecting because that's the common thing that we do when you see a dad be hard on his son. And I remember one day, then my cousin brother sent me a message. Yo, dog, I enrolled, I think it's DUT. I enrolled to go study what I finally wanted to do. And I remember thinking, this nigga is going to be the best at his job, dog. Because this guy has gotten schooling and then he has gotten his father's grooming, and then now he's about to pursue what he genuinely wants because now he has seen that okay, this is how you make money. If shit hits the fan, this is what I do to put bread on the table. And then now I have decided that this is what I want to solve in the world. Long story short, he graduated, and fuck, if you meet him today, like there's no way you can derail that nigga. That guy is focused as a, I don't know what focus is, as a candle flame for that matter. Like you check how it straight up a candle flame goes. That gent is super focused. There's nothing that can derail him. And I know why, it's because that nigga's got his dad's DNA in him. And that shit is powerful. There's this quote that I like saying, sons grow up to understand their father. I can tell you now, there are very few men that reach 50, 60 that just sit there and they're like, yeah, he was all bad. By the time you hit 40, 50, you start seeing that, oh shit. So that's why this nigga left. Oh shit. So that's why this nigga never talked. Oh shit. So that's why this nigga drank. So that's why this nigga always had a bad, whatever, look on his face. And it's because at that point, life is coming at you 360 and you can see that, oh fuck, there's something called wisdom. There's something called principles. It's not just about how smart you are. It's not just about the 1, 2, 1+1 that you can do that, you think nobody else has done before you, you know? So it's that one business advice that I would give, man. Make peace with your fucking dad, dog. That nigga's got your blessing. That guy's got the answers. And you might say, listen, you don't understand. My dad is, hey, man, if you want to hate and badmouth your dad, base it on what he tells you. Sit down with the nigga and let him spit in your face. And then you can take a picture of that and then post it and be like, listen, this is the nigga that you said must stay. And even then, after he spit in your face, ask him what you spit in my face, and he'll tell you what disgusts him about you. And if you think that's harsh, There's no other man that has got the balls to tell you what you need to hear to become the man you need to become. Nobody else is vested in your achieving your truest potential as your dad is. Nobody. And that goes to the conversation that I then had with Trev regarding the Friday problem. And I said to Trev, Trev, man, I think we've deviated from a lot of truth. I think we're lying to each other, dog. I think we keep blaming government, president, women, because it's the easy thing to do, you know? Because it's the convenient thing to do, because it's the logical thing to do. It's easy for anybody to see that, yeah, sure, the president is fucking up or the president is bored. But that doesn't explain why you left work at 2 minutes past whatever, 3, when you should have left at 4 or 5 p.m. You stole 2 hours from somebody who decided that they're going to risk it all to pursue a goal or to fix a gap in the market, give you an opportunity to feed your family, and then you spit in their face and you say that, nah, dog, the last hour belongs to me. That's stealing from your employer. I posted a post the other day, I think a month or two back, and I was like, listen, there's absolutely no reason to steal from your employer. I don't care how bad they are. There's no reason to steal from your employer. And it's little truths like that that for as long as we're not sharing, for as long as we're not honest with one another, we're going to continue to blame government. And maybe this next politician or this next leader is going to come in and save us. What we don't have is we don't have sons that go back to their dads and say, listen, the day I was born, you saw something in me. 5 years after I was born, when you met me for the first time, you saw something in me. Fuck, if I met you at 21, the day I met you, and I was like, hey, yo, my mom says you my pubs. And whether you broke down and cried or whether you walked away and said, nah, fucking no way, you're not my kid. There's something that you saw or something that you know about having a son that you should be imparting in me to be able to say, nah, dog, listen, you don't do this, you do that. You speak to anybody that's successful, they will tell you that my dad is the one that taught me the value of hard work. And it's always the same principles, always the same fucking principles. I've never met a dad that says, nah, son, cheat the system. Never. I've heard dads that say, this system is fucked, follow this. But I've never had dads that say, listen, this system actually works, but you know what? Let me show you how to take a shortcut. Any man that's successful, they will tell you that my dad actually still thinks that I'm weak. And you're there like, but I bust my butt off. And this nigga doesn't respect me one bit. I think we need some of that radical honesty. And if your dad is late, may he rest in peace, dog. Take the time, if you can, to meet your uncles, find your uncles, ask them, hey, dog, what was my dad like? How do you think he would have wanted me to sort this particular issue? If your dad never had brothers, walk up to a gent that you think is genuinely doing well and say to him, hey, dog, what can I do to be a lot closer to what you do? And literally give him the freedom to tell you the truth. Let him tell you to your face that, dog, stop whining. Stop thinking that you deserve ish. You deserve nothing. You deserve what you work for. And even then, you're not going to get paid full price. Then you have to demand it. I remember one time my dad, we were talking about commitment, and I think I've shared this with you before in a previous podcast. But essentially, I said, I think we're talking about commitment, and I was saying to my dad that, hey, you know what? It's been a while since I've heard that term. I committed to this. And, yeah, I don't remember how it got there, but essentially he said the words, yeah. But remember, entrepreneurship is defined as a promise to deliver. And I remember he said it in no uncertain terms that, listen, if you promise a client one, two, three, you deliver one, two, three. And I think no shorter add there to the end that, listen, and if you can't do that, don't fucking come back here and call yourself my son. He didn't say that, but I could feel it in the words that, listen, you took this route, you deliver, full stop. And I appreciated that because it was, what do they call it? It was liberating. It was liberating because I had a challenging client and I felt like, nah, like, oh, by now I've worked so hard. They don't deserve this, man. They're not even paying me that much, what have you. And he was like, listen, if you looked another man in the eye and you shook his hand and you said, listen, I will work for this, the time to renegotiate is not while you're supposed to be working, especially if they've paid you. They've done their part. And we've spoken before about what money means to the Jewish community. Money is life. If another man gives you his money, he's giving you his life. So if another man gives you his life on your promise, then you fucking deliver. Like there's no two ways around it. You rather deliver, get paid, and when it's time to renew the promise, you sit down with him and you say, listen, I don't think this is fair. I have a family to feed, I have a family to build, I have a home to fortify, and I don't think what you're paying me is fair compensation for the labor that I'm giving you. I'm letting you eat my hands. But you don't leave work. You don't stop working because, yeah, anyway, these guys are making a lot of money anyway. Like, fuck, Einstein, why don't you then go start your own thing and then make you a lot of money? Like, you're stealing from someone that's giving you the opportunity to build your family's dreams. You're stealing from a person that's actually helping you solve some of your problems. Many problems come at us, none of them pay us. Like if your job is your problem, you be grateful that, hey man, I'm glad you fucking pay me. Because if I had to do you for free too, shit. And so I think it's the answer to that question that Trevor asked, or that Business Insider article that was shared that says South Africa has a Friday problem. No, South Africa doesn't have a Friday problem. You fucking man up and you do your work.